A magical journey. Roshan and I had talked about entering into Machu Picchu, just the two of us, at some point. And she suggested that the next day we ought to do this. And she said, "You lead, and I will just go wherever it is that you take me." So if you've been to Machu Picchu, you know that there is a place where the road goes in two directions, or the path goes in two directions. And every part of me thought we were going to go down to the right, which is where the women were. And I had a sense that what had happened there was that there had been ritual sacrifices of virgins and that something had really torqued there and something awful had happened. So I thought we were going to go there. But when I went to go in that direction, it's like I had this almost like this force field that wouldn't let me go in that direction. And then Roshan said, "We're supposed to go up, aren't we?" And I nodded, and I didn't want to make Roshan go up there because Roshan actually has systemic lupus at the time, and I didn't want to make her climb up this large stairway, but we were clearly going there. And so we go up to the top of these stairs where there are three altars. And the second we get to the top of the altars, I'm looking at Roshan, and she starts to shapeshift into the woman that I had seen when I had the original experience in that cave, the heart of that cave, this priestess princess. Her face started to literally transform very vividly. And she said, "You know about our past lives here, don't you?" And I said, "Roshan, I actually don't know about our past lives here, but I have a sense of something about who I was and something about who you were." And then Roshan told me a story. And the story was this. She said, "I was the head of these priestesses that came from another dimension. And we had taken a vow of celibacy, but I fell in love with, there were three groups there. There was men who were like warrior soldier kings, and there were these women who were these priestesses from another dimension, and then there were the people who were there helping us. And we had all taken a vow of celibacy, but I fell in love with the head of that group of warrior kings, and we actually made love, and I got pregnant. I had enough power that I could hide the pregnancy from the world, even though in a material sense I was pregnant, but I could mask the pregnancy energetically. And you were the child that was born of this union." And then I started to get the story, and we pieced it together. And it became very clear that I never knew my mother, and I was raised by my father, who was sort of like a distant but very caring warrior. And I got very angry that I felt like I'd been abandoned. And so what I did was, when I was up on where there are these three altars, it became clear to me, and she then told me that this was what she knew also, that there were these three altars there, and I converted, I got into some kind of relationship with the Spanish, thinking that, we could collaborate in some way. And I actually converted to Christianity and started doing these mystical rituals at one of the altars up there. And of course, she would watch the whole thing because she was there, but she had to deny her maternity and deny that she was my mother. And I actually didn't know she was my mother. I just knew she was there, and I didn't know what had happened to my mother. And I felt this profound sense of like anger because no one would ever tell me.